So you downloaded the Ultimate Hunting demo and your game looks terrible. Yeah, a lot of people are having that issue right now. This game is an Unreal Engine 5 title, and Unreal Engine is an extremely heavy engine. It's a very difficult engine to run on any PC, frankly. And also considering the fact that this is a demo, getting your game to look good and run good, meaning 100 FPS with graphics like this, is a very, very challenging thing to do. But I'm currently getting 140 FPS, and my game looks this freaking good. Now mind you, no matter what, some of the textures in the trees and stuff are just not final. This is a demo, so no matter what, there's gonna be little things like that zebra down there that's running in place, or that elephant there that's licking that rock, that just need work in general. This demo's been out for approximately 1 day as of recording this, so give them time. But in this video, I'm going to teach you guys absolutely everything you need to know to get your Ultimate Hunting demo to run smoothly and look amazing despite your PC specs. We're going to go with settings for as low as a 6 or 8 gigabyte graphics card, which trying to run a UE5 title with a 6 gigabyte graphics card is not a good idea in general, but some of us have no choice. All the way up to a 16 gigabyte plus card like myself. So without further ado, guys, wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay guys, so first and foremost, as soon as you spawn in for the very first time, the game is not optimized like legit at all. It's not a game, it's a demo, so it really shouldn't be, but we're gonna at least start. Look at that elephant drinking there, by the way. We're gonna at least start by making it playable for you guys, okay? We're starting off with the people that have those 6 gigabyte and 8 gigabyte GPUs. So, first and foremost, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and hit settings here and head over to the graphics tab. And this is what I'm running right now. I have a 1440p monitor and an RTX 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte card. Make sure you check how much video RAM your GPU has because it's really going to play a huge amount of difference in today's guide. So, first and foremost, you want to make sure that your resolution is set to the same resolution as your monitor. Mine came in 1080p and my monitor's 1440p, so make sure you set it to the proper resolution. Obviously, you can just do that by changing it here. Windowed mode should be borderless or full screen, however you prefer it. VSync, you automatically want that to be off. It might come turned on. What VSync does is it makes it so that way your FPS is locked to the exact same refresh rate as your monitor. So, for example, I have a 165 Hz monitor. VSync makes it so that way the game is capped out at 165 Hz, or FPS. Hertz and FPS are frankly the same thing. And your game will not be able to run any more than 165 FPS or 40 FPS if you have a 40 Hz monitor, etc. That's obviously not good. FPS limit, you want that on unlimited. Field of view, adjust that to how you like it. Brightness, contrast, and resolution skills should all be left default. And then this is where we get into the interesting stuff. So global quality preset, don't even worry about that. They're terrible. None of them worked well for me. If you have a 6 gigabyte or an 8 gigabyte GPU, you're going to want to start here with object texture quality. This is the texture quality of all the objects. Since you only have 6 or 8 gigabytes of video RAM, your GPU is not capable of running ultra, high, or maybe not even medium with an Unreal Engine 5 title. If you have a 6 gigabyte GPU, definitely not. You're going to want to leave texture quality on low. If you have 8 gigabyte or more, you can set it to medium. I've heard some things about like 12 gigabyte cards existing, so I think 3070 is, if I remember correctly. Start with low and move it up and see how your PC runs. I'm going to use medium because I feel like an 8 gigabyte card is super popular with things like 5060, 4060, etc. For terrain texture quality, exact same thing, either low or medium if you have a 6 or 8 gigabyte card, putting mine on medium. For shadow quality, this doesn't rely much on the video RAM, this is more CPU based and RAM based. Anything lighting isn't really video RAM. Video RAM is essentially the memory used to render in textures. Things like object quality, foliage quality, which is the quality of the leaves on the trees, bushes on the ground, the amount of bushes on the ground that spawn in, fur quality, that's all GPU based. Although shadow quality definitely still comes from your graphics card, there's no way around that. So I would suggest starting on medium and adjust it all the way up to ultra until your PC starts to lag and just find the sweet point. I'm going to leave mine on high because I feel like you guys could do that if you have at least 8 gigabytes. Although if you're lagging, lower shadow quality. It does make kind of a big visual difference though because shadows are obviously pretty much everywhere constantly. As for reflection quality, that's just like reflections off of objects, reflections off the water, off the vehicle, I think. Start with low and move it up to high. If you can run it on high, then go for it. Reflections aren't that difficult to run on a higher setting, but if your PC doesn't have much RAM or a weak processor, reflections might be a challenge for you. So like I said, start on low, bring it up to high. Most modern PCs will be able to run these settings, medium, medium, high, high. But like I said, again, just make sure you guys mess with it. As for vegetation detail, this is the detail in all the vegetation on the ground. Start with low if you have a 6GB or 8GB GPU, and slowly but surely move it up. If you have an 8GB GPU, again, you should be able to run this on at least medium, maybe even high. As for anti-aliasing, start with medium, move it up to high. Anti-aliasing reduces screen tear and a couple other things that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Anti-aliasing is extremely, extremely important. Post-processing quality, low or medium. Pick one of the two, whatever one runs better for you. I have it on medium. Global illumination quality. This is a huge one that'll make your PC lag. Start with low, jump up to medium. If you can't run medium, keep it on low. If you can run high, try it. I couldn't even run it on ultra. I could, I just prefer to be over 60 FPS, so yeah. Global illumination is basically everything around you. It's basically the sun quality is the best way to explain it without going full nerd mode. Just the quality of the lighting, but also shading quality makes a huge difference and is also kind of the quality of the lighting too. Visual effects quality. This is basically like when you fire the gun, there's that little thing on the end, the muzzle flash or whatever, or little effects, maybe like when the animals fall over or something. I think the lens flare might be in that. If this were a game that had explosions, that would be considered a visual effect, but yeah, we definitely don't have an RPG yet. Maybe we'll get one in the future. As for shading quality, I have this on ultra. This is kind of like lighting quality once again. Basically like when you're in the shade, or right when the sun's coming up, you get that like glow and you can see the sun rays and whatnot. That's just the quality of it. Start with medium and adjust it. You should at least be able to run medium. If your PC's really weak, obviously start with low. Volumetric clouds pretty much makes no difference, leave them on. Tessellation should always be on. I turn my motion blur off because I hate my screen blurring when I turn left and right. I think it just makes the whole game look more crisp if you turn that off, but it's preference. Depth of field, I also hate that when it's on. It makes your screen blur for objects that are in the distance. Makes the whole game look more crystal clear if you turn that off. I guess it's basically just for realism, but I don't like it on. Bloom is on. Anti-aliasing, and we're going to come back to this here in a second. This made a huge difference for me. Obviously, ambient occlusion is on. That's what gives you that high quality lighting. Same thing with global illumination. It is going to make a pretty big difference with a visual impact if you turn both of these off, or at least one of them off at a time. Experiment with turning one of them off, but when you turn them off, you get way more FPS. Your lighting is just nowhere near as good. Like, there's a still shot with ambient occlusion and global illumination off. You can see the sun rays up there, kind of coming over that big rock there. The lens flare isn't as high quality, and then when I turn them on, the whole game just gets a much more realistic glow to it. It's not a huge difference in frame rate, but I mean, just the way the sun bounces off the ground, the way the sun rays cut over this rock here, it might not be coming through on YouTube very well for you guys, but for me, the difference is immaculate. And I only lost, I think, like 15 FPS turning both of those back on. But, you know, Fortnite kids who think they have to play in 400 FPS to have an enjoyable game, they might want the extra frame rate for the visual loss. Unless you're like playing Call of Duty or Fortnite or something, you don't need over 100 FPS. Even 60 FPS is stable in the modern day. 100 FPS I'd say is the sweet spot. Volumetric fog, it can kind of make a difference. If your PC doesn't have much video RAM, it can make it lag quite a bit. You either have the option to turn it on or off, so I mean, you choose. If it runs way better without it and you don't want fog on, and you don't care about seeing fog, it might make a difference for you guys to see how much of a boost I get. Okay, so I went from, actually there's no boost whatsoever. I was going to say I went from about 120 to 130, but no, it's back down to 119, 115, 120, 117. It kind of makes the game look a little bit more clear when FPS, or when fog is off though. Interestingly enough, I mean, it looks crystal clear now. The fog almost has a little bit of a blur to it. Honestly, I might leave that off myself. It's just not as realistic, obviously, but last but not least, for anti-scrubber texture filtering, start on 4x and move it all the way up. It really doesn't make a huge difference. It's just literally just the filtering of the textures. It reduces jagged edges in the textures, so if you look really, really close, the textures kind of look sharp, and it just reduces that. So if you turn it all the way off, that's what you get. You might not be able to see a difference to the naked eye, but like when you look around you, everything kind of just seems a little bit more blurry. And then you turn it all the way up, or on at least, even a little bit will make a difference. Everything looks a little bit more sharp, and just makes it look more realistic in general. So, in the sense of graphic settings, that's pretty much everything you need to know, but for this game and any UE5 title, anti-aliasing makes a huge difference, and I'd encourage you to mess around with it. So, the game starts you on TAA, which is what Call of the Wild uses, and I get not a good quality picture, and I think a lot of people are complaining about it. It almost has a gray tone across the screen. I'm getting 90 FPS, 70, 69, 102 FPS, and just the picture is not that good in general. Now, if we head into graphics once again, a lot of people would start to lower their graphics settings and just worsen the picture quality, but yes, probably get a little bit more FPS. Instead of literally what you can do is come in here to graphics and move TAA to MSAA, more frame rate, and a better picture. Now I'm getting about 120 FPS, the game is more clear, and in general, MSAA works so well for me. This is the one that I use. I don't have almost any screen tearing. The picture is super, super clear, the textures are super, super clear, the game doesn't have that, like, gray, it almost looks like a filter when you use TAA. Kind of looks like a 720p game or something, like the Hunter Classic before you adjust the resolution. That's the best way I can describe it. If you head into graphics once again and move MSAA to TSR, this is what you get. A little bit more of a blurry picture and a little bit less FPS once again. Running about 90 FPS, and really, for me, I don't have any reason to run this. The textures, like even right there, look blurry, and I have to get this close to them for them to fully render in. Like all the shrubs around me look extremely blurry for some reason. It's just the anti-aliasing, I guess. And I head into settings, graphics, and move this back to MSAA. Immediate difference. I can clearly see textures all the way up to where that redness right there on the ground ends. Even these trees right here that are 150 meters away, the textures are almost fully rendered. FXAA is another option. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks probably the worst out of all of them, but I mean, I am getting 130 FPS. That's absolutely horrible. I could not play with graphics like that. And your only other option is to turn it off. If your PC's powerful enough, you should be able to just run it with no anti-aliasing. Certain textures, or pretty much all the textures, do look really, really sharp and really, really jagged. But I mean, the picture's still clear. I'm still getting 120 FPS, but everything around me is almost like flickering, I think is the best way I can describe it. Like everything looks too sharp. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, textures are still rendered in super, super far. The game still looks crystal clear. For me, the best way to go, the best thing that I can get with my 16GB GPU, 32 gigs of RAM, and an i7 is MSAA. You just gotta play with it. Now that I know the MSAA runs super, super smoothly, 130, 140, 117, when I look down and render all these textures, like 120, 110, you look up at the sky, 170, 200, 190. Now what I can do is come into here and start messing with all my graphics settings. Since I have 16GB of video RAM, I can run textures and everything on the max settings with almost no FPS drop just because I have so much extra video RAM. So texture quality, terrain texture quality, shadow quality I still leave on high. Like I said, that's more CPU based. Reflections high, vegetation detail I keep that on ultra. I believe that's what I added on. Global illumination, things like that. Either high, medium, or ultra, I just tweak them until eventually I get a super stable picture at 100 plus FPS. And here I am, about 100 FPS, I'm using maximum textures, and the game is running smoothly and looks amazing, and this is a demo that is poorly optimized. I'd say, in my opinion, for an Unreal Engine 5 title, solid 7 out of 10. This game looks very, very nice. Definitely a lot better than the build that us content creators got in early access. But hey, if this video helped you guys out, let me know down below by smashing that like button and subscribing. Let me know if you guys want to see more Ultimate Hunting demo content. I'm making quite a bit of progress in the game. I got about 10k. I unlocked the 416 Rigby, as you can see. The thing is an absolute tank. And as the demo goes forwards and gets more updates, and we get closer to full release of the game, I will definitely be making more videos on it, regardless if you guys want it or not. Because I like this game, and I see a lot of potential in it. As always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Gaming, and we'll catch you guys in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.